Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emmanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt a shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the agentic pivot, Emmanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
Thanks for joining me today on Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm Emmanuel Rose, and joining me also is Eric Samson, who's the founder of Group 8A, a New York-based full-service digital agency that builds scalable demand programs by combining intent signals with discovery channels. Eric's practice is practical. He designs measurable funnels that turn intent and discovery reach into a repeatable pipeline. Today, we'll dig into the frameworks he uses to scale programs, how he applies AI for targeting and creative optimization, and the measurement approaches that link activity to revenue. Now, that's what I'm excited about. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great. I'm a big fan of the work that you're doing, and I'm excited to hear about what's going on at Group 8A.
Awesome. I can't wait to tell you about some of it.
Well, the first question is, what in the heck is Group 8A, and what does that name mean?
Yeah. So I sold an e-commerce business, and when I sold the e-commerce business, I needed to immediately set up a new LLC. And I had this LLC called Carbon 6 set up. And I had the whole thing designed, and then my lawyer told me I can't use Carbon 6. So I reached out to a science friend of mine, and I'm like, I got to stay with this whole elemental concept. And he told me Group 8A is the noble elements, and all the other elements try to be like it. That's about as scientific as I got. I liked it. It sounded cool. I needed something fast, and there we go.
All right. Well, it's a great story, and it's so noble, that whole idea. So I like it. Well, talk to me a little bit about the work that you're doing right now, and what's some of the success you're having with your clients.
Yeah. So we focus on incremental sales and digital marketing for ROAS-based performance. So whereas most clients are, or most agencies are focused on budget-based and spend-based payment programs, we're focused on revenue-based programs. So we get paid a percentage of increased sales as opposed to a percentage of spend. And we focus on ROAS-based scale. So if you're hitting your ROAS goal, say it's a 4, and we're at a 4.5 or 5, we continue to spend. But if you're at a 3.5, we're looking for additional efficiencies before we're scaling.
We're looking at what is going wrong and then solving it first.
And then we've got all these set processes that go into it that lend themselves really nicely to layering AI onto them.
That's what I was going to say. These daily checkpoints that you're able to create through Claude Cowork or Claude Code or something similar to that, huh?
Yeah, and it's fascinating because, at some point maybe this will go away, but like today, if you ask AI, if you ask like Claude to optimize your Meta account, it will optimize in accordance with the things that you could find online. You have to really give it metrics that matter. You have to say what type of optimization you want, what the rules are that you believe in, and things like that. When we let it go on its own route, it basically makes the mistakes that we're seeing commonly made with agencies and in-house teams regularly. And so it's kind of fascinating the level of expertise you need to bring to AI in order to guide it into the right
Thank
place.
God. That's all I can say is thank God. Guys like you and I, who spent 30 years doing this stuff, still have value.
A few more years.
But you know what I mean. It takes some common sense and some experience and some understanding of human beings and design and what the fundamentals of marketing are to get good outputs from this laser beam of AI.
Yeah, and the way I think about my company for the next 5 years is it's gonna be one of two things. Either you hear guys like Scott Galloway talk about how he owned Yellow Pages business after it was dying, and it was one of his most profitable and successful businesses. I think about this business as almost a Yellow Page business potentially. In 3 to 5 years from now, the agency world will have died. There will be almost no one left, and the smartest, most efficient operators will have a Yellow Pages business dealing with the remnants of what used to be a much bigger market. Or
Mm.
on the flip side, and this is what I'm really building toward and hoping for, I think at our core, we are marketing experts and human managers. And as long as humans play a role in marketing, there will be a home for a company like Group 8A to exist in that world. We specialize in managing humans for the purpose of doing great marketing. And as long as you
Yeah.
need some form of human involved in the marketing process, we should be around.
Yeah, I think about it a little similar, but a little different in that there were mathematicians who knew all the things that are inside calculators now, right? And so I kind of think that you and I are the mathematicians, and that at some point, I mean, what I know is Jungian and neuropsychology and 70,000 campaigns that I've created. But at some point, all that secret juice goes into the calculator, and you really, I don't need to be around for that, but maybe for managing some part of the humans. I don't know. I think it's going to be managing agents, is what I think it's going to be.
Very, very well could. Asking the right question, right, is a big part of where AI is wrong now. Somebody still needs to prompt it, and
Yeah.
all too often now I'm seeing people prompting it incorrectly, looking for the right answers to the wrong questions.
Starting to sound like a country western song over there, Eric. I love it. Well, what does your personal AI tech stack look like for your workday? What are you using right now?
So I'm very focused on Claude right now. I've been
Yeah.
heavy into ChatGPT. I still use ChatGPT for all the basic stuff. I try and keep Claude solely complex and professional. So I'm using ChatGPT on a daily basis for odds and ends here and there, more conversational, and for building things, I'm really using Claude. And
Yeah.
Claude's what we integrated into our proprietary platform right now, which we're having a lot more success with than we had with ChatGPT.
It's an interesting divide, isn't it? I'm in a similar situation where I really went heavy on custom GPTs and I built out a lot of things in chat, but now I'm moving everything over to Claude and Claude Cowork and Claude Code. And now it's Claude and Replit. Those are my two workspaces. And it's amazing time to be a prosumer of software development. I'll tell you that.
It's fascinating what we're getting and for how little we're paying for it. You could see like another universe where this would cost $100,000 a month, and only the
Yep.
biggest companies would be able to afford it, and all the smaller companies and the individuals would be complaining that the world isn't fair anymore because we
Right.
don't have $100,000 a month to pay for it. But yeah, the value of it that you're getting, the cost and the value that you're getting is insane. And we're all just really suffering from our own mental limitations about what to ask for it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, what are some of the things that you're seeing that's got this astronomical return and get you so excited about this?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you my latest one, which is also maybe my most exciting one. So I'm pressuring myself and trying to go to sleep every night and lose sleep, thinking about how to ask for bigger things. And so the
Mhm.
last thing that I asked for that I think would have been impossible for anyone on my team to do is, we had a client that left us for another agency, had a poor performance for a year with the other agency, and then came back to talk to us, not necessarily to sign with us. And I said, okay, we're
Right.
going to do an audit, and we're going to
Love it.
assume for the last year that they were on our platform.
Oh, very nice.
How would
Yeah.
that have looked if they were on our platform for the last year? What would that have looked like? And can we make it quantitative? Because every time you go to an agency and you ask for an audit, it's like 100% of the time they tell you that what you were doing was terrible, and they tell
Right.
you why, and it's all subjective, right? It's
Yeah.
all like you chose yellow, you should have chose red, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
so I'm like, can we make it quantitative? And what it did, and this is fascinating, we have a process where we test ads to $200, and then we run them beyond $200. So it basically said, what ads would we have passed? What ads would we have failed? What
Yeah.
ads didn't get enough money for the testing? And then what would have happened if we scaled the good ads and didn't scale the bad ads? And it gave us this whole hypothetical. If I asked 3 of my best engineers to do this and gave them 6 months to do it, they would have gotten it wrong. It just wouldn't have been that good. And
Right.
and I know that because I asked them to do it about a year ago, and they couldn't. They just came back to me and said, it's not going to be
Said,
it's not gonna be
too
usable.
much. Yeah. Too hard. Yeah.
Now I have it in a dashboard, right? It's
Of
all
course.
built
Yeah.
out. And what was fascinating is the answers weren't the answers I was expecting. Their highest spend ad had under 1 ROAS. Their next 4 ads had under 1 ROAS. The entire account performed at roughly a 3 ROAS. Out of
Yep.
1,200 ads, 800 of them never got to $200 to spend, and many of those ads had a 5 to 20 ROAS. Now it's
Wow.
based on such a small amount of spend that you can't really tell where it would have landed.
Yeah.
But and then many of the ads that got like, a few $1,000 spend were the ones that we passed. Only 100 would have passed according to our system. Many of the 800 probably would have passed with a little more spend. But only 100 passed. And of the ones that got a couple $1,000 of spend, it seems like the pass indication at $200 was a directionally accurate indication, and we would have done well with those ads. And so it projected out that we would have done about 80% better on meta performance over what they had done over the last
Ouch.
year. This was
Yeah.
impossible to pull any other way other than AI. And
Yeah.
so now we're asking it to essentially replicate our entire proprietary platform and figure it out for everything. It'll take us probably another 2 weeks to build, but we could give a truly subjective answer to, I don't know what we'll do in the future, but if you had us for the last year, here's what it would have
Yeah.
looked like. And I'm so excited to see it.
That's awesome. Well, did you sign these guys back on? Is the real question.
We're close. We're close. We're talking
Okay.
now. I think they're down to 2 agencies, and I think we'll be the one they choose.
Well, I mean, with that kind of granularity and specificity, I don't know, how anybody would compete against that in a sales process.
Yeah, it seems like simplifying the message while complicating the way you get to that simple answer, I think is the key, right? We need to get better at that. And by the way, AI helps with that too.
For sure. Yeah. Well, and then just the grounding at each step. That's what, that's such a great story that you have there, because you're actually able to say, here's the math, here are the numbers, and here's what it would have been.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So much of what I see with AI is 90% great, and that final 10% makes it ultimately non-viable, right? You just can't use it at all, and it's not linear. If you put an hour per 10% in, and you spend 9 hours getting to 90%, you don't spend another hour and get to 100%. You spend another 100 hours and maybe you're at like 93%.
Right.
The real work with AI is in that final 10%. And that's what's creating this world of essentially bad AI and promises of a better future, but like not so much being delivered today.
Well, it's great. There's a really smart guy named Kent Anderson. He's an AI agent expert. He's built like 200 plus AI agents in manufacturing and other forms of automation. And his whole thing, and I really really adopted it since we had our conversation, was that our job really is to train and manage the AI just like we would a staff person. A lot of people talk about that, but to take the work product that you end up with after you HITL'd it, right? You human in the looped it. You got that last 10%, and then feed that back into that same conversation or same GPT or same prompt so that the AI can learn what the final output actually was. And that, it to me, is the real magic of how to get the time back of investing into this process.
Yeah, 100%. The evolution of AI and the way you're training it is great. And by the way, I think maybe the most valuable thing I've gotten to date from AI is it's actually training me. And what I mean by that is, for some reason, it's okay if somebody at my company gives me great work. I don't always remember to give them a compliment.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now with AI, I always give compliments. I'm so complimentary because that's what's training it to know what to do differently next time. It's like, this was great. This was okay. Can you give me more of this? And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm almost as a rule giving it feedback and oftentimes compliments because it's doing great work. Whereas as a rule, I'm not necessarily giving feedback to the rest of the team, to the
That's
humans.
funny. Yeah.
And the humans actually work the same way, right? When you get great work and you don't tell anyone it's great, they don't know to give
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
the way you train AI. And so I'm retraining myself as a manager and a leader to be more sensitive to direct feedback and letting people know exactly what they've done, how I think of it, so that they can give me more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff.
I'm going to call that token intelligence. Like, instead of emotional intelligence, we'll call it token intelligence. No, but it's true. That's awesome. I love that. I just had one of those today too, where I finally got a landing page that showed up in Google Search Console at 97% on whatever that first focus. Oh, load speed, I think. But it took me 3 days and 15 different prompts to get it in that spot. And I was like, oh, thank you. We solved it. But it took a lot of tokens.
It is hard to celebrate with a beer with AI, but outside.
Yeah. So the platform that you're building, is that an internal use only, or are you going to commercialize that for the rest of us to use?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've been talking to people who are much smarter than me about SaaS, and ultimately, I think I have a SaaS business by accident, and I've got to figure out what to do with it. I was listening to I forget his name, but the guy who started 37 Signals, Basecamp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know his name, but I know the companies. Yeah.
You know, he runs a SaaS business, and he seems like an expert at it. And he says, build things that you use yourself, and then you'll have a business for it. Well, I built something that we use, and so I probably have a business for it, but I don't know how to package a SaaS business.
Different game. Yeah. Totally.
If I could figure it out or find someone who could do it for me, I'll make it available to everyone. But I'm happy to share it. You know, I love the feedback I get from it. I don't think a million people are going to call me tomorrow and ask me to put them on it. So if anybody needs to try it out or wants to try it out, I'd love to get a feedback loop going, and it'd be pretty interesting.
Well, we probably could track down a few guys for you on that one. That's no problem. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I did the same thing. I built some generative engine optimization tools. One that's a content rewriter, because the LLMs don't see content that's older than 18 months generally. And so it gives legacy brands a chance to go back and grab old content, refresh it, and use it as new content again. And it's been one I've been using it for the clients, and it's been a fun process to have my team use it and break it and tell me what needs to get fixed, and then update it and get some good results out of it.
That's a great idea. That's really a great idea.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's my tiny little contribution to the GEO challenge. Well, Eric, besides the platform, what do you guys have coming up for the rest of the year? Any other product releases or new stuff that you're working on?
Yeah, the other thing that's really exciting for us that I would recommend other people build. This is now a 30+ page prompt that we're running after every Fireflies call. Right, we're using Fireflies for tracking. We download the transcript, run a 30-page prompt on the meeting, and find out how the meeting went. We've made it quantitative so we can put a score to it. We've made it about the things that we want, and some of the things are kind of complicated. For example, for client calls, we don't care if our account manager leads or the client leads. and the AI, we were using ChatGPT initially, kept dinging our account manager's points because they weren't leading the call. Right. And I kept saying like, no, I don't care. We have some really smart clients that take a leadership voice on these calls, and it's okay.
Right. Yeah,
and if my account manager were to try and lead over them, it would probably be very aggravating. So it's taken many, many iterations of this prompt. We're probably about 70 or 80 versions of this prompt in. And, it's obviously grown over time, but I would consider it about 93 to 95% effective. It's definitely viable. We now trust the scores as they come through. And we have an override. If the score is low enough, we have somebody watch it and make sure it was accurate. And if it was accurate, we bring it to the account manager and try and solve it with time or money to make the client happy again, or whatever the account needs.
Yeah, no, that's a cool way to use that as a management tool and a training tool, really. That's cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Also, we've actually used that on training also, which is we just have the new account manager watch like 10 meetings that got high scores.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love it. That's pretty creative, and that sounds like a well-worn and a well-talked about prompt that you guys have created.
It's a monster.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, Eric, I really appreciate your time, and you and I need to catch up some point and have a beer and a burger and have a longer talk. But I'm going to let you go today. How do people catch up with you if they want to have a conversation with you?
On LinkedIn or through our website, group8a.com.
All right, and all that information will be in the show notes. And I'd love to have you on the show again if you're interested, and see what you're doing in about 5 or 6 months and see how things have changed.
Sure, that sounds great.
All right. Well, thanks again, Eric, and you have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers. Wow, what a fun time, good conversation. And take a second to think about the last few projects you've worked on with an AI assistant, and how you might work to deepen that conversation all the way to the 30-page prompt or something similar, so that you're getting real value from the interactions with the LLM, asking the right questions and getting the right answers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I did. It was a pleasure talking with Eric Samson, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show again. I hope that you take some time today to continue deepening some actions with AI-assisted activities in your role, and that with the time that you win back, you continue to upskill and you spend some time with your friends and family, and that you get outside into nature and away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.